Now broadcasting from his hidden bunker and fully stocked bar, it is the Saturday Report with Colt Sebastian Taylor.
Thank you and welcome to the Saturday Report with me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, adventurer, entrepreneur, and amateur mechanic, and welcome to AWSM Radio, an independent digital-only station that plays today's best music, old school classics, along with a rotating cast of all-star DJs. AWSM Radio focuses on mainstream artists, independent artists, along with a variety of interesting talk and music shows throughout the day. All we do with entertain, inspire, and inform. And I want to engage with you, my friends, and have you be part of the conversation. So you can find me on the Twitter, on the Instagram, and on the Rizzle at Colt S. Taylor, and catch up on everything that I'm doing, all the new updates and whatnot at ColtSebastianTaylor.com. It's a website that should already be bookmarked. All right, let's get started with this week's Saturday Report. First up this week, my friends, Hyundai, the car manufacturer, produce millions of cars every year and whatnot, sold all over the world. And as you know, my friends, if you know me, Colt Sebastian Taylor, I often endorse, promote, plug people, products, places, services, businesses that I enjoy and I am very fond of. Well, this week, my friends, this is the first. I am specifically recommending not to buy a Hyundai vehicle ever again. That's right, my folks. A first time ever non-recommendation by me, your old pal, Colt Sebastian Taylor. But I say to yourself, Colt, my goodness, why would you not recommend this to the hundreds of thousands of people that listen to you week in and week out on your online radio show? Well, my friends, let me tell you why. So less than 2 years ago, I needed a new vehicle. Obviously, I have a fleet of cars available to me in my underground bunker, but I did need something to drive about throughout the day above ground, above my bunker. So I went and I got a Hyundai Tucson. Okay, now I haven't quite gotten that AWSM money yet, so it was a used car. 60,000 miles, 2016 Hyundai Tucson, 60,000 miles. Drove very nice. It was kind of an upper end Tucson. It was one of the more expensive ones if you bought new, but whoever had previously owned it traded in and whatnot, and so it was a pretty good deal, I thought. So drove it and whatnot. Obviously, the pandemic hit. My driving time went way down like everyone else did, and wouldn't you know it, last week starting to have some trouble. So I took it to my mechanic, a good friend of mine, my mechanic for over 20 years. The guy is fantastic. Hit me up if you want a recommendation if you live in Pennsylvania. But I said, hey, I think there's a gas problem. He went, nope. That there, Colt, is a transmission issue. I thought to myself, well, golly, that's odd. This car has less than 80,000 miles now. I've driven less than 20,000 miles. I've had it for less than 2 years. Surely this is not a transmission issue. So sent over to a transmission guy. The guy says, yep, this thing needs a brand new transmission. I'm like, well, golly, that's not good. Well, hey, Hyundai's a good company. Hyundai stands behind its products. Well, fun fact, friends, if you buy a new Hyundai, you have a 100,000-mile drivetrain warranty that covers the transmission. However, if it's sold used, that warranty is knocked down to 60,000 miles. How convenient. So if I had bought this car new, not a problem. Because I bought it used and the car dealership made additional money off of this used car, I'm on the hook for said transmission. So I called the dealership. Colt, sorry, there's just nothing we can do about this. Interesting. So I called Hyundai HQ, the folks at the Great Ivory Tower, Hyundai somewhere in the United States of America, and very nice customer service folks. Like, there's a safety recall and anti-lock brakes. There's a recall in the hatch, but there's just nothing we can do about the transmission. So, also I talked to the service person at the dealership, and he said, yeah, these transmissions, oh, God, I mean, there's nothing really we can do about it. Hyundai actually, the Tucson transmission in this version, they were some complaints about it, so they kind of swapped it out last year and put a different kind of transmission in there. So, from what I understand, from the conversations I have had with Hyundai personnel, apparently, the Tucson had a transmission that, wasn't quite up to par, so they swapped it out last year. Now, obviously, there weren't so many problems that it made more sense financially for them to recall it and replace the transmission, but obviously, it made sense for them to replace the transmission going forward because they didn't want to be stuck with a safety recall bill or a safety recall or a recall down the line. So, my friends, we come to the conclusion here. I am immensely outraged. I feel swindled, bamboozled, taken for a ride. Well, not anymore because the car doesn't drive anymore. It can't engage first gear and it has to be towed to be fixed. But I feel that Hyundai has sold me a poor quality product. Now, listen, friends, things happen. There's occasionally a bad transmission that goes out there. But I would think a car company as big and massive and as great as Hyundai would say, whoa. This thing has 79,000 miles on it. The transmission went kablooey. Holy moly. That's not quite the quality craftsmanship we want around here. Colt, listen. Sorry. I know you're put out for 2 weeks getting this repaired. We'll cover the cost about this because this is not the quality product we intended to have for Hyundai. And yet, I'm stuck with the bill. Now, granted, I didn't get an extended warranty on the used car. I thought to myself, extended warranty. Surely, in 2 years, a car with only 60,000 miles on it won't blow up, won't explode. Okay, now if I drove across country, put 100,000 miles on it in 2 years, yeah, that would make sense. This is less than 20,000 miles. Been parked out front for the better part of the pandemic. Now I got to shell out several $1,000s for a new transmission. You know the cost of a brand new transmission for a Hyundai Tucson? $8,000, which is more than a third of what I paid for this used car from a Hyundai dealership. That's some Tom, Dick, and Joe on the side of the street. Person like, this is a Hyundai certified car. We put it through 300 gabillion safety checkpoints. Well, obviously, you didn't check the transmission because I find it surprising that less than 2 years later, I need to get a new one. So, my friends, I called, I tweeted and whatnot. I social messaged, direct messaged them. I am not satisfied with the results. I'm not satisfied with what Hyundai has done for me. So I thought to myself, gosh, I'm going to be shelling out a whole lot of money for this car. How am I going to be made whole? How am I going to feel satisfied with the service? Well, golly, this will be some great content for my weekly radio show. Oh, look at that. Why have a weekly radio show on AWSM Radio if you can't drag an international car company through the mud? So, my friends, I will give you an update many weeks to come. Oh, so many weeks. And boy, howdy, I'm going to be sending this to the Hyundai folks so they can listen not only to my great commentary about the car company, but also the great music and shows we have here on AWSM Radio. They might become a fan. They might become a sponsor. Probably not after this segment, at least for not my show, but hey, you never know. I'm a team player. And you know what? If the Hyundai folks want to get in touch with me and feel that perhaps I have not been treated to the standard and quality that they treat their other customers, I'm more than happy to have a conversation with them. But until then, my folks, if you see a Hyundai coming down the street with a for sale sign, you should be buyer beware, because as far as I'm concerned, 100% of the Hyundais I've bought, which is just one, but 100% will need a new transmission in less than 2 years until I am proven otherwise. So, for those at Hyundai HQ listening, I'm sure they're looking up my case number right now and whatnot. Hey, I told you, fellas, I'd be talking about this eventually, so you got my number. If you want to pop onto the show, talk to me, or talk to me on the phone, I'm available. I'm not hard to find. All right. All right. That's enough Hyundai talk for this week. I'll be back next week with another Hyundai update until I get bored. And my friends, I do not bore easily. Not for this sort of money. This sort of money, I'm going to get my money's worth for it. Next up, folks, we go to Florida, where, after a long investigation, I can report to you at this hour, evidence of election fraud has been confirmed at this hour. It's a very serious thing. And you know what? I feel stupid because I have lambasted lots of people online that there was no election fraud out there and whatnot, and I have been proven wrong. No, I'm not talking about the U.S. elections, the U.S. presidential elections. No, that was fine. There was no fraud there. Or are you stupid? No. No. I'm talking about prom. That's right. In Pensacola, a teenage girl and her mother, who is an assistant elementary principal, were arrested for allegedly hacking hundreds of student accounts to fraudulently vote the teen as homecoming queen in the fall. So this teen, which is there's a very, very lovely looking person, certainly prom queen, classical prom queen contention and whatnot. Her name, Emily Rose Grover, age 17, and Laura Rose Carroll. They were both arrested for all offenses against using computers, unlawful use of two-way communication devices, and criminal use of personally identifiable information, and conspiracy to commit these offenses. So apparently, they hacked hundreds of accounts to vote for her as homecoming queen, and now they face multiple felonies. As a, I guess, elementary assistant principal, she had access to the system, and she was able to use. They were able to use that system to vote for her daughter to become homecoming queen. Now, the sort of red flag here that the investigators thought, or officials thought, something here isn't quite right, is that Emily here, what's her name, Emily? Yes, Emily here, she got 120 votes for homecoming queen in like a very short period of time, all from the same IP address. And investigators linked the IP address and the unauthorized access of the system to the mother's cell phone. As well as her home computer, where almost 250 additional votes were cast for Emily, the homecoming queen, in the fall and whatnot. And I guess she, since we're talking about it now, I guess she was the homecoming queen in the fall. And they were both arrested on it. Now they're both bond set for $8,500. The teenager was taken to the juvenile detention center, and the charges are pending at the moment. So once again, folks, I think this just shows you many things. One, election integrity is certainly important, and two, it's very hard to get away with election fraud. Even like it's immensely difficult to get away with election fraud. Look at this. This is a high school prom queen voting, and they did not get away with it. Sure, they got away with it, but like this investigation has been churning for several months now, and they got pinched for it and whatnot. I mean, I don't know how becoming a homecoming queen is such a. I guess there's not much going on in Pensacola, Florida, where this is the big thing for 17-year-olds. But yeah, that's probably not the best use of their time. And you know, if they get convicted for a felony, I mean, it'd be like, hey, I see you got a criminal record here. You got a felony, unauthorized use of computers, identity theft, illegal use of two-way communications. Did you hack a bank? Did you break into a reporter's notebook? Did you hack a nuclear power plant? No, I want to be homecoming queen. Oh, okay. Well, Well, I guess that's okay. I guess you can start on Wednesday then. And remember, we're pushing the Whopper. So I will casually keep tabs on this. I don't know. They'll probably make some sort of plea deal, I imagine, whatnot. Lots of community service. I mean, I would imagine they're first-time homecoming election offenders. So hopefully they don't get doesn't get too harsh of a penalty. But obviously, they've got some community service. They've got some community service on tap for them in the future. We now go from Florida to the Dead Sea in the Middle East, where archaeologists have found new remnants of the Dead Sea Scrolls, the first fragments found in over 60 years. I'm sure you're all aware of the Dead Sea Scrolls, or these caves in the Dead Sea where scrolls, which have been remarkably preserved because of the dry, salty environment down there, were pulled out over a few decades, but they have not found any new scroll fragments in over 60 years. They still explore the area because lots of caves, lots of stuff been put in there and whatnot. But they found fragments from the Book of the 12 Minor Prophets, so I guess they only write some of the times, and verses from the Book of Zechariah and Nahum were also recovered from a cave on the West Bank. They had recently discovered a cave in the last few years called the Cave of Horrors, mostly because they found some mummified children and other bodies down there and whatnot. Obviously, they've been there for quite a while. And a woven basket that they believe is over 10,000 years old, the oldest basket they believe that has ever been found. Imagine, 10,000 years ago, a 10,000-year-old basket. So, obviously, this predates much of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and these caves have been used for obviously thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of years by the people who live in there. So they're very excited about this. This area of the Dead Sea is guarded pretty well because once the discovery of these scrolls came out 70-some years ago, they have been the sort of target of looters, people finding stuff and selling it on the They don't call it the black market. They call it the gray market. So quasi-legal selling of artifacts. Like, yes, I'm a perfectly legitimate seller of things. Where'd you get this? Well, I got it from this other guy who's also kind of legitimate. Like, where did they get it? Well, he doesn't say where he gets that from. So that's what they consider to be the gray market, sort of in between legitimate and the black market. Anyways, they found this and whatnot, and it's an ongoing archaeological survey of this area for the last 70 years. The Israeli government has been funding, literally since 70 years, of digs and excavations of the caves in the area. And they think there's still quite a lot out there they just haven't come across yet. And they kind of stumble across these caves. They document everything, and they find some pretty amazing things. So, first Dead Sea Scroll evidence in over 60 years have been found recently, and will continue to contribute to research and more knowledge of how people lived during that time. Moving on to Tiger Woods, which, as you may know, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, he was in a severe, almost would have been fatal if he wasn't driving a high-end car with lots of safety features, car accident, which he was severely injured, had to be pulled out and whatnot, back injuries, leg injuries. He has recently gone home to the hospital, spent about a few weeks in there. He really didn't want his kids to see him in there, in the hospital, because he was very beat up. In fact, I would be surprised if he is able to resume his golf career. He has had multiple back surgeries, multiple knee surgeries. His body was already the body of a 70-year-old man. He really had a hard time going, but he was trying to make a comeback, and there was some very high hopes that he might win another major golf tournament, but it's going to be years before we even probably see him on a golf course again, unless he has, access to some superhuman healing stuff. But he's back home. He is out of danger. They were a little concerned that he might lose a leg. But he also has signed a multi-year deal with a video game company to be on the PGA Tour 2K to provide some make some virtual appearances and return to video games. It's been a while since he's appeared in some of these video games, but he has signed a deal, which is good because he's not going to be getting any money from golf winnings because he's not going to be playing golf anytime soon. But Tiger Woods is going to be making some appearances on there. His likenesses will be used. A lot of these games are online now, so he'll probably be making some audio recordings and whatnot, and he'll be part of this PGA Tour golf universe and whatnot. Now, the partnership is described as being long-term, described as being exclusive, but those are the only details that they're releasing at this time and whatnot. And he's going to serve as a consultant and executive director for the game, which, he's been playing golf since, the Bob Hope show, so it's perfect person to consult on a golf game. Now, I have never played a golf video game. I assume they're fun. Obviously, they make good sales because they keep doing, they keep making new versions and whatnot. So I imagine like a golf game is not like a baseball game and a lot like wrestling games. You like build up stats and whatnot and play and whatnot. I play golf games on my phone sometimes, but not like a full on create a character. You participate in tours, golf gaming experience. I don't even have a video game system, so I wouldn't even know. But anyways, if you're a fan of golf games and the PGA Tour golf game series, get ready for exclusive content from Tiger Woods because he is joining that video game series in a long-term exclusive deal. Speaking of long-term, speaking of high quality, speaking of someone who stands behind the work that they put out, unlike some car companies I know, it's my pal DC, and he has a show here on AWSM Radio, DC Live in Effect. He is our in-house DJ, and there's no problem with his transmissions. No problem with his transmission whatsoever. You can hear him crystal clear here on AWSM Radio, Friday nights at 9 p.m., Sunday nights at 10 p.m., Download the app, listen through the website, however you do it, you need not miss his show. You don't have to miss it because you can have it right in your phone. Right in your phone right now. Download the app. You do not want to miss out while he smashes it on the ones and twos every week, kicking it from his South Florida compound. So, my friend, he's my pal. He should be your pal, too. Listen to DC Live in Effect right here on AWSM Radio. Next, my friends, we go from delightful music to delicious food. Sushi. I love sushi. Wasn't always a fan, but got turned on to it about 10 years ago. Love myself a good Philly roll, salmon and cream cheese. There's a roll nearby here called a dancing dinosaur. It's like fried sushi. Oh boy, howdy. It is so good. Now, what would you do, my friends, for free sushi? Let me ask you that. Okay, well, if you don't like sushi, you obviously wouldn't do anything. But if you like sushi, what would you do for free sushi? Would you submit a postcard? Would you write a poem? Would you make a video? Would you change your name to Salmon? Well, in Taiwan, where sushi is very popular, a local restaurant is has a promotion that anyone who has the name Salmon in their name gets a free sushi meal for themselves and 4 other people. Now, obviously, people who have now. Basically, let me back up a little bit. Basically, in Taiwan, they have Chinese characters for that's the language that they speak and whatnot over there, and they have different characters. They don't use the Western Hemisphere alphabet and whatnot, and they're looking for 2 symbols that if you put it together, it spells the word salmon. So if you have these 2 symbols in your name, you get to participate in this promotion, get free sushi and whatnot. If you have one of the 2, you still get some sort of discounts and whatnot. So like you and 5 people can get a meal for free as long as you prove that you have a name ID that has those symbols in the cards. Well, folks, loving to have sushi. About 100 people have changed their name to have the word salmon in their name to take advantage of this promotion. Now, this promotion is only a limited time, okay? This is not like from now to the end of time. This is like, a few weeks, few months. You get a free sushi meal if you have salmon in your name. However, there is a slight wrinkle in this. In Taiwan, under the Names Act, you can only change your name 3 times, okay? You have 3 chances to get the name you want to get, and then that's it. So if you change your name to have Sam in it, that's 1, and then you change it back, that's 2. Then you can only change your name 1 more time. Now, plenty of reasons why people change their names over there and whatnot. But Taiwan, I guess there's a problem with people changing their names too many times to avoid legal bills or whatever. So you got 3 chances, and that's it. And the government's saying, hey, guys, don't use 2 of your name change chances just to get a free meal for a few weeks. That's not really good use of your 3 name changes and whatnot. But with that said, about 100 people have done so far. And they're really trying to discourage people to do it over there. But some folks really want a free meal for them and their 5 friends. And so they've been changing. There's a lot of salmon Taiwanese people over there. I don't know like their middle name or the last name or first name. I tell my friends, I don't know how names work over there. I don't know if there is like even a middle name. Like if I was going to get free sushi, changing my name would not be that. Colt Salmon Taylor. Actually, that's not too bad. But Colt Sebastian Taylor sounds way better than Colt Salmon Taylor. Maybe Colt Sebastian Salmon Taylor. Nah. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it for free sushi. If it was free sushi for life, now we're talking about some serious sushi here. It'd be hard to turn that down for a lifetime supply of sushi. I mean, even just for me and no one else, if I change my name, I'd be having sushi 5 times a week. It's really good when not. But anyways, Taiwanese officials are really don't want people changing their names, and this will continue. So think there myself, my friends. What's your favorite food? Steak, pizza, caviar, sushi? Would you change your name to take advantage of, let's say, 2 months? 2 months of free favorite food if you change your name. Remember, if you change your name, that's going to impact a lot of different things. It's a lot of hassle. It's not like just updating your password to your Facebook page. There's a lot of things that go through it. But would you change your name for your favorite food? I guess you could call this food for thought. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my God. That was a good one. That was a really good one. Next up, Phil. I'm being handed a message here. This is from AWSM Radio. High Command, folks. It's finally happening. I am going to Coachella 2021. I always thought that Coachella is missing something here. It's a cultural milestone for some folks. It's a big concert and whatnot. But it's been missing me, Colt Sebastian Taylor. And you know what? It's high time that I take AWSM Radio on the road, go to Coachella, and give you live reports throughout the day. All right, let me just check here. Coachella's been pushed back to 2022. Ugh. Well, the note only says to 2021, so I guess I'm not going to Coachella. Ooh, management. Oh, you pulled another fast one on me. Well, since I'm talking about Coachella, apparently Coachella has been pushed back to April 2022. They were going to have it in October 2021, and this is the fourth time the festival has been pushed back. Originally, they were going to have it in April 2020, and then, as you may remember, lockdowns kicked in and whatnot. Then they're going to push it back to October 2020, and as you remember, things still were kind of terrible. And then finally, they shifted to April 2021. But vaccine rollout has been slow. Lockdowns in some places are still in place. They don't want to make everything terrible again. As you may recall, there were a few festivals held during the pandemic where we're fine. Well, we just got to wash our hands and don't sneeze on each other. And it actually was a super spreader event. Good job, fellas. So reportedly, it's going to be pushed back to April 2022, according to some sources, but has not yet been confirmed by Coachella promoter Golden Voice, which is, I guess, who promotes Coachella. Now, the Coachella usually brings in a large crowd, usually 100,000 tickets per day. It could be, I mean, look if you look at past pictures of Coachella, the 6 feet rule isn't exactly something that can be done there and whatnot. Yeah, so it looks like they're probably going to be pushing it back a bit. Still not quite ready for large outdoor events with hundreds of thousands of people crowded together. We're getting there, but there's no need to jump the gun and then make everything terrible again for many more months. So if they do push it back, I would applaud that decision because, I mean, let's make sure everyone's vaccinated and everyone's okay and whatnot before we, push our luck and whatnot. But I guess I won't be going to Coachella. And let's be honest, folks, I'm not much for crowds or loud noises as it is. It might be funny to see how miserable I am around there with folks stumbling over each other and, the sort of the height of hormone season when they're like, oh boy, you can cut the hormones here with a knife, whoo, and the sweat and the stank. But anyways, if you are making plans for Coachella, you might want to double check their website later this month because it seems like it could be pushed back to later this year. From the stinky teenagers and 20-some-year-olds who dance and writhe and grind against each other at Coachella to cow farts. Yes, it's kind of a natural segue. Scientists have recently discovered that feeding cows seaweed could cut their methane emissions by 82%. So methane is a greenhouse gas that impacts our environment and whatnot, and a large source of methane, cow farts. Yes, that's right. All the cattle that sort of perp out the back ends has a lot of methane in it, and there's a lot of cows around the world, and it is a significant percentage of methane that is released into the air come from cows and other sort of, cattle and whatnot. But seaweed could cut that emissions by 82%. So a lot more studying needs to be done. Feeding seaweed to cows could be a long-term solution to reducing methane emissions from their burps and farts, which is pretty amazing. In fact, in some futuristic sci-fi shows, they mentioned that they've eliminated cows altogether or reduced the population severely so that meat is really no longer available because of the greenhouse emissions that come out their back end and whatnot. I forget what show. There was one show where one episode was sort of minor. Many shows have the main storyline and a humorous side storyline. Where the side storyline was this guy was trying to make a burger. He had gotten his hands on illegal burger meat that was frozen 10 years ago, and now he managed to get his hands on the black market. He's going to make himself a cheeseburger and spends the entire episode trying to make himself a cheeseburger, gets caught at the very end, has to hand over the hamburger to his boss, and the boss is about to throw it away, takes 5 big bites and throws the rest of the way and whatnot. It's actually pretty funny. But that future can be averted. If we feed cows seaweed. And they find that the seaweed doesn't impact them in terms of how they perform and the meat that they put out. So still a lot of studies to be done. This is the first study. This could just be a minor thing, and then they get used to it and they start pumping out methane again. But very interesting science. What are the science sitting around the science table cow farts. Hey, let's give them seaweed and see what happens. Yeah, harumph. We're scientists. So we'll see what happens. If another story pops across my desk, I'll be the first to inform you. Now, my friends, my last 2 stories dealt with stuff that kind of stinks if you're there, but something that does not stink. Something that is just roses Monday through Friday. It's my pal Rox with her show, The Rock Sessions. It's a drive time show that makes sure your evening home commute is a whole bunch of fun. And it features the hottest music on the charts as well as some other surprises in between. You do not want to miss The Rock Sessions. Why? Because it's hosted by my friend Rox. She's going to make it rock style, no problems with her transmission on AWSM radio. It is fantastic. There's no limited warranty on her transmission. It is guaranteed for life to be fantastic, and her show will run smoothly. And you can catch her Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. right here on AWSM Radio. Download the app, give us 5 stars, listen on the website. You do not want to miss her fantastic show. She's fantastic, and she's my pal. The Rock Sessions, right here on AWSM Radio. Next, my friends, we go to a favorite topic of mine, Kanye West. I don't know why, I think I got hooked when he ran for president, and whenever a story pops up about him, I have to just sort of have to see what's going on there. Well, it's not about politics or his sort of weird statements or his divorce, but how much he's worth. He's apparently worth $6.6 billion. $6.6 billion, not from his political career and mostly not from his music, but from his fashion line, apparently. He has multiple deals with Adidas and The Gap, and they're worth between $3.2 and $4.7 billion, which is pretty amazing. He is collaborating with Gap and is set to launch the Yeezy Gap line for men, women, and children apparel in July, but does not include footwear because Adidas has the exclusive right to market shoes through at least 2026, but everything else from the ankles up, I guess Gap will be putting out there. And that's a decent amount of money. Now it should be interesting that he is going through a divorce and whatnot. What exactly that means for the divorce? Will they just sort of, is Kim Kardashian going to take some of that money? I don't think Kim Kardashian is worth $6.6 billion. Should be interesting. I imagine though, if I was Kim Kardashian, I got plenty of money. I'm like, all right, let me just cut this out and then go do your thing. So apparently, according to West's attorney, he has $122 million in cash and stock, $1.7 billion in assets and investments, and his music catalog is worth $110 million, according to various sources and whatnot. But $6.6 billion. I am in the wrong market. I need AWSM Radio execs to get me a pith helmet fashion line and vest, because I think we could make hundreds of dollars off of it, really. And you gotta start somewhere and whatnot. But Kanye West worth that much money. Wow. So they have to fund another presidential election run. Continuing with entertainment, Billie Eilish, the well-known young singer who's won many awards, debuted a new hairstyle today on Instagram, showing that she had dyed her hair blonde. And I'll tell you what, it set an Instagram record, got 1 million likes in 6 minutes. The fastest ever to hit 1 million likes ever was her posting this picture. Apparently, she's confirming rumors that fans thought that she was wearing a wig at the Grammys. She is, I guess, notoriously a little insecure about how she looks and whatnot, so she's been wearing a wig for a while now because she wasn't really comfortable showing everyone her new hairstyle and whatnot, but she decided to reveal it on TikTok and on Instagram, and it was very well received. In fact, there's I'm looking at 4 articles right now that says, Billie Eilish refreshed her hairstyle. How can you refresh your hairstyle? Spring is here. Billie Eilish is going blonde. Should you? So already spurning all these fluff articles about hairstyles of her. So listen, she's not the bad guy. Duh. She's just a lady with blonde hair. And as a redhead with a beard that always looks fantastic day in, day out, I think it looks good. So I'm good for her. Good for her for changing it up a bit, going blonde for a while and whatnot, as she should and whatnot. So check it out if you follow her on Instagram and TikTok. I occasionally pop in to see what's going on with her. But she's changed her hair, set an Instagram record, won some awards. Things are looking pretty good for Billie Eilish. Well, my friends, that just about wraps up this week's Saturday Report with me, Coach Sebastian Taylor. Thank you for joining me here today. And remember, my friends, you can find me on the Twitter, on the Rizzle, on the Instagram at Colt S. Taylor. So please, feel free to engage with me on there. Let me know what you think. If you think there's a story I should be covering, or if you just want to say, hey, hello, how's it going? I'm easy to find. And of course, my friends, if you haven't already, bookmark ColtSebastianTaylor.com so you can catch up with all of my adventures. Until next time, my friends, I am, of course, your friend, Colt Sebastian Taylor, and I'll see you later.